Hello, this is Arjun Belatham from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm bull on Kroger, and this video and the accompanying written report will show you why. So as an introduction, although I assume most of you will know this, the Kroger company is a well-respected chain in the US that provides a lot of people with their groceries, and now they're doing a lot of other stuff as well. So important to know is that they're a nationwide brand. They've spread to all corners of the United States through a series of mergers and acquisitions, and they're based in Cincinnati, Ohio. So before we get to the more intangible stuff, let's talk a little about their base numbers. So they have about 10 to 15% of the grocery market, depending on who you talk to. And they've got $132 billion of revenue in 2021, which is up slightly from 2020. However, they have a net income of $2.5 billion in 2021, which is up more than 50% from 2020, which shows that something in their process, most likely they cut costs in 2021, which is why, although they have a slightly higher revenue, they're having vastly higher nets, probably because of cost-saving measures. But intangibly, they have a strong economic moat, which consists of their very low costs, their network effect, the trust in the brand, and the fact that their products are necessary, which is why they're not going to go away anytime soon. They are one of the backbone companies for America. So to explain the low costs part, they have an extensive supply chain. They source from like over 1,000 different suppliers, which means that they can, if one supplier doesn't want to sell them something at a price they want, they can go to a different supplier, which guarantees that they're always going to have low costs and they can buy in bulk. And because they have such a wide supply chain, it's not going to get disrupted very easily, at least not to the extent that other companies could be. Obviously, this is going to lead to low costs for the products, higher reliability in the fact that there will be products, and a lot of different products are going to be offered, which are things that, they make me optimistic about Kroger's future. The fact that they've got a wide variety of products and they're going to be there at low cost due to their extensive supply chain. To explain the network effect, they have a strong network effect that works in conjunction with low costs due to the large sales numbers, large supplier numbers, like so many store locations throughout America, and the fact that they can bulk buy from suppliers. They're able to keep costs down and build a network of people who prefer to buy groceries there and are surrounded by options and opportunities to buy from Kroger. They have a lot of trust in their brand, and now let's go a little more into the history of Kroger. So they were founded in 1883 in Cincinnati, Ohio. It spread throughout the country through mergers and acquisitions, and it continued to build its reputation by merging with Dillon Companies Incorporated in 1983. This was big. It expanded their supply chain and their network. It was a big westward expansion for sure. And the biggest merger was merging with Fred Meyer Inc. in 1999, because Fred Meyer was a huge corporation that owned Ralph's, which is a big thing in California, Food for Less, and QFC, which took Kroger all the way to the Pacific coast. These mergers have increased Kroger's value and turned it into the largest grocery chain in the United States. So the mergers that this is just a few of the ones that have happened. The entire list is on Kroger's website, and there are dozens of companies that they have merged with or acquired, which is that's how they've built such a large network and such a large customer base. And for them to have lasted and been really successful like the way they have been, consumers needed to have a feeling of trust. A lot of people will say that Kroger is the most trusted grocery store in the United States, which can be really helpful during times of crisis or uncertainty. such as right now with the COVID-19 pandemic. Consumers are more likely to keep buying from Kroger because it feels familiar, so they seek comfort in that familiarity. Over the years, Kroger has built a really good reputation, and that is in its favor during these times of crisis. And lastly, but perhaps the most important thing, especially right now with COVID, is the fact that their products are completely necessary. They sell groceries. That is food. And food is one thing that people absolutely need. So while a nice clothing store might get shut down, right, maybe you don't need Ralph Lauren clothes, but you do need food. You need the fruits, the vegetables, wheat, whatever. And that's why Kroger is never going to get shut down due to a pandemic or any other incident short of them going bankrupt. It's because their products are completely necessary. And consumer demand is not going down. In fact, right now, with people just sitting at home, they might even want to eat more. They might want to experiment with different recipes, which means that consumer demand could very well be going up during times like this, which gives Kroger the ability to weather a crisis situation. Like Apple, well, maybe right now, if people don't have jobs, they're not going to be buying Apple's technology. But even without jobs, people are going to spend money on Kroger's products because Kroger sells food, and that is essential. And as you can see, Kroger's been, as you saw in the numbers that I showed you earlier, Kroger was able to nearly maintain their sales numbers. And because they're so necessary and they've had a history of success and serving customers well, they're still looked upon favorably by consumers, which are all essential during pandemic business time, and means that Kroger is going to deal with new variants of COVID more effectively because they are not going to get shut down. Now, there are some other factors here. So while Kroger, a lot of brick and mortar grocery stores are suffering now, Kroger has branched out into home delivery, which keeps them in good standing. They're improving their reputation and changing with the times. Customers are happier that they can avoid contact with other people and germs, which is icing on the cake for Kroger. And lastly, but not least, diversification. Kroger has gone far beyond being a simple grocery store. They've also opened pharmacies, jewelry, and department stores, which diversifies their asset placement, diversifies their product and service selection, and diversifies their revenue sources. So even if one part of their business takes a hit, they have other things to fall back on until, let's say, their grocery business gets back up. This means that they have a safety web of sorts. It also means that they have like a launch pad to keep like expanding in certain industries. So now that they've opened pharmacies, they might be able to open a medical lab because they already have a foothold in the medical industry. So things like this is where Kroger is really going to be like getting a lot of revenue from in the future. It's kind of a revenue driver for them. And these are all things that are going to help them in the long run. And obviously can all be expanded to maximize benefit for Kroger. Which leads me to my conclusion, which is that I am very optimistic about Kroger's future due to the statistics and the sales data that I've showed you, their low cost, their network effect, the trust in their brand, and the fact that their products are completely necessary. And then also they've diversified. They're not just a one-trick pony. They have other things, other revenue sources, and that's kind of a launch pad for future success. So I believe that Kroger's stock price will increase by 50% in the next 6 months, going from $44 to $66. And even in the worst case with COVID variants spreading, due to consumer need, Kroger will not be shut down and therefore are not going to be affected the way that other companies are. They're going to keep operating largely the same way they already do. Sometimes they might add more self-checkouts, as you've seen recently, but largely people are going to keep coming to Kroger or getting their food delivered to home. So Kroger's main business will not take a severe hit, which is why I think that Kroger is going to go up in the next 6 months. Thank you.